and welcome back to my channel, Lydia Lost the Plot. I'm Lydia and I'm here today for a very special video. It's one that I've been reading for a little while, and that is reading the shortlist of the Sky Arts Book Awards. Now, this is an award I hadn't heard of before, but Simon Savage from @SavageReads is one of the judges for it this year. And so when he posted about it on his Instagram, I was like, I need to get to this shortlist. He always has the best recommendations, and I thought, you know what, there are a few books on that list that I hadn't got to, that I was meaning to get to, and this kind of gave me the kick up the bum to get to it. So the three books that have made the shortlist for the Sky Arts Book Awards are, I've got them all here, I'm prepared for a mix of change. They are Knife by Salman Rushdie, Soldier Sailor by Claire Kilroy, and The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm just going to talk through these books, what I thought of them, what I think, why I think they were chosen, and then I am going to pick who I would like to win. So the first book that we'll talk about is Knife by Salman Rushdie. Now, this is a memoir and it's subtitled Meditations on an Attempted Murder. And it's basically about Salman Rushdie's experience of being attacked, being stabbed, and at a book event, and then his subsequent recovery and how he has come to terms with the fact that such a violent act was perpetrated against him. And it is fascinating to see what it is like from the victim's perspective. There is not a lot of airtime given to who Salman refers to as A for assassin, assailant, all of those words, arsehole, the person that did attack Salman. So it's mostly told from the perspective of Salman, and occasionally little bits are added in from onlookers, witnesses and whatnot, but it's very personal, and it really is a fascinating look at what that kind of trauma can do to somebody. Salman, not only was he violently attacked, but he also lost his eye, and he also had major surgery and almost lost his ability to use one of his hands. And it's incredible that he was able to survive and recover from what is essentially a devastating attack with numerous consequences. And I felt like this memoir was a very good summation of what happened, and also I like the way that Salman Rushdie thinks. So I like the way that he can go from thinking about a knife to thinking about it in the context of a film he watched. Then the film that he watched leads him to another thing, and it works like my brain. Essentially, where I go off on these tangents and somehow it will make sense. And I did really enjoy that, and I thought that Salman's writing was wonderful. I have not read any of his fiction, I will be honest. I've not read any of it. It's never really been something that I've been desperate to get to. It's still not something that I'm desperate to get to. I was more drawn in by the premise of this memoir than by the fact that it was Salman Rushdie himself. On a different note, what I felt that this book lacked was, in parts, I felt like it was a little bit self-indulgent. Now, I think with all memoir, it is very, very likely that you're going to fall into those traps, and that's absolutely fine. And I think given the circumstances, we can forgive Salman a little bit of that. But I don't know, something about it, I just felt every now and again, I was sort of like, come on, like, I don't know. I think this is maybe my tastes as a reader, and my taste towards certain people. I can't say that I think Salman Rushdie is gonna be my best mate. Does that make sense? But his book is fantastic, and yeah, I felt like it was a very good exploration of a topic that, you know, only he could have talked about, because only he has experienced it, or, you know, very few people in the world have survived attacks like that. And so my morbid curiosity got the better of me, and I did thoroughly enjoy is always the wrong word to use with this, but you know what I mean when I say enjoy it. I thought it was a very interesting exploration of trauma. But did I feel like it fully hit everything I wanted it to? No, only because I think sometimes Salman Rushdie can be a little bit sort of it's a memoir, so it's going to feel very internalized, and that's what it did feel like. It felt very sort of inward thinking and less about anything else. So I don't know, but I did think that this was worth the read, and I'm glad it's been nominated, because I would like to see more people talking about this, and I'd like to see more of a discussion about it, because I feel like not many people have chatted about this, so it would be nice to delve into that. Also, I found it really interesting, just the gory details. I know it's really bad, but the gory details of it, his surgery and what he went through. I thought it was just so fascinating, some of the wonders of modern medicine, and the fact that, you know, someone can be that close to death and be pulled back. I just thought it was so fascinating. So yeah, that is Knife by Salman Rushdie. Next on the list is The Bee Sting by Paul Murray, the biggest book known to man. I mean, it's huge. When I started reading this, I was like, oh yeah, it won't take me that long. It took me a while, and it was not because I didn't like the book. So this is a caveat, okay? Before we even start it, loved this book. However, it was one of those books where you pick it up and you're fully immersed, loving it, really enjoying the writing. I thought the style was interesting. I thought the way he played with voice was really innovative. When I put it down, I would do a million other things other than pick this book up, and I don't know whether that is that big book fear. Is it because I was a bit like, oh, it's massive and I'm not going to get it done, blah blah blah? But I was reading it for this video, and because I wanted to read the shortlist before the winner was announced, and instead of kind of powering through, which is what I would normally do, it just took me ages. And then the last third of it I read in like a day. So I don't know what was going on there. I think that's me as a reader. That's my issue, not Paul Murray's issue. Now, this book is, I'll tell you a little bit about it if you have been living under a rock for the past 12 months. But this was nominated for the Booker Prize in 2023. It also won the Nero Book Award for Fiction in 2023. This has been all over the award season in the bookish world, and for good reason. It's basically about a family, a mum, a dad, their teenage son and their teenage daughter, and about basically their lives and how they just sort of start to crumble. And it's like they've held each other together up until the point where the book starts, and it just all starts to unravel. And I loved it. It was so fascinating. The way that Paul Murray can write internal monologues is just phenomenal. It's so good. Now, I think that the issue I have is that it's a 4-person narrative, so we've got 4 perspectives going on, and they work linearly, so they're all together, and then some of them go back in time, and then some of them come back, and it's a lot. It worked for my brain, but I feel like people, if you like a straightforward narrative, if you don't like time jumps, you're gonna struggle, okay? But I did like it. I felt like the characters were very distinct, so that you knew who was speaking, you knew who you were. Also, each chapter is titled with who it is, so that was helpful as a way to navigate the book. but I felt that only occasionally there were moments where it would drag, and I think that this was mainly when you were Cass, who is the teenage daughter. I felt like she was maybe the weakest of the voices, however she was still brilliant. So it's sort of like saying, oh, you know, that's the least sparkly diamond, if you know what I mean. So it is a fantastic family saga. It's full of hope, loss, resentment, lost chances, lost opportunities, decisions made in haste, decisions that you want to go back and say, don't do that. And it's just, if you're a writer and you really want to know how to write character, this is a perfect book for you, because it is such a brilliant exploration of realism, naturalism, and of character, because I loved it. It was so good. Again, I do think it dragged in places, and I do think that a lot of this book, it takes a lot out of you to invest yourself in it. But when I say to you that the last 50 pages will have your heart in your mouth, I could not breathe. I couldn't breathe. And I was, I can't tell you about it because it ruins it. But honestly, the slog that I thought it was at times, going back to it, trying to pick it up, trying to stay with it, it was worth it for those last 50 pages. If you have read The Bee Sting, please comment down below and tell me what you thought of the ending. I'm trying to avoid spoilers for other people, but honestly, I need to know. I need to know what people think happened, because it is a little bit cliffhangery. A lot of this book as well explores things like mysticism, and I would have liked to have lent more heavily into that. I felt like there's a character called Rose in it, and she sort of predicts the future, but does she really? You know, it's kind of up in the air. And I loved her character, and I would have loved to have seen more of her. This is, again, another thing that Paul Murray does really well, is that the tangential characters, so all of our sort of sub-characters that surround the family, are all phenomenally written. There's nobody that feels like a caricature or just a filler or exposition. Everyone feels so real, and yeah, it was cracking. It really was. It was. Now, the last book that has been nominated for the Sky Book Awards is Soldier Sailor by Claire Kilroy. Now, most of you will be familiar with this from the fact that it was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. And it was actually a front runner. And I really liked it. I know, shock horror, because as many of you will know, those of you who've watched my channel for a while now, and those of you that have followed me before, if you haven't yet followed me on Instagram, I'm Lydia Lost the Plot on Instagram too, so do follow me there, because I always post updates about my books. You guys will know that I don't like books on motherhood. It's not because I hate mothers. I am one. It's just because I have this thing, and I don't know what it is, but I always feel like whenever someone writes about motherhood, I'm always I'm very picky, because I'm a mum. I've done it, been there, done that, worn the, 16 t-shirt. So I'm always a bit about people writing about motherhood, even if they're mothers, particularly if they're mothers. So I don't know, it's my thing. Again, I think we're finding out a lot about me as a reader through this shortlist. But Soldier Sailor is phenomenally good in terms of it captures a lot about motherhood that we don't talk about. So the cracks, the difficulties, the sheer absolute lack of happiness that can sometimes happen, and also the juxtaposition between absolutely loving and adoring a child and physically kind of wanting to throw it out of the window, which sounds bonkers, but believe you me, it's how you feel sometimes, and people don't talk about it. People aren't open about it. People in mum and baby groups that I attended did not talk about that side of it. And so to have a piece of literature that actually encompasses those feelings and doesn't shy away from them, I absolutely loved the fact that this explored those parts of it, whilst also really acknowledging that you still can love your child and you can still love your partner, but you look at your partner and you think, I want to burn you. It happens. And I just thought Claire Kilroy has such a wonderful way of accessing those emotions without judgment, with sort of objectivity, whilst also filling it with full of emotion and identification. And for that to do that for me, I thought that was really, really good, because I'm hard to please, let's face it. But I thought it was really good. On the other side of the coin, I'd say that maybe the last 30 pages were not needed, and it felt slightly like, not a cop-out, because I don't mean that, but you know, when it's like, I felt like she was sort of like, but I must let you know that it's all right. And I just thought, you know what? Life's messy and life's difficult and it's complicated, and let's leave it at that. But I am a queen of an unresolved ending. I'm the queen of leave it up in the air. So it's sort of, I was wanting that, and I felt like she tried to tie it up with a bow too much, and I just didn't need her to dot the I's and cross the T's at the end, because I felt like we knew it. We know it already. So it's a great book. It's fantastic. And I would love to know your opinion on it. If you've read this, please comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this, because I really want to know, sort of, am I the only one that didn't like the end? I don't know. I did not like it. I felt like saying to her, like, no, we don't need it. Stop. But yeah. But that is the shortlist. And I mean, it's a cracking shortlist. Oh, look at this coming up. Oh my gosh, I look naked. It's like Calendar Girls. I was in that once. My gosh. Let's not talk about that. However, I digress. So this is the shortlist. Beautifully shown. And I have to say that if I was to choose a winner, it would have to be Soldier Sailor by Claire Kilroy, which I did not think out of the three of these books. Paul Murray's really upset he's left. Out of the three of these books, I was convinced that this would be my least favourite, and it is my favourite. So thank you to the Sky Arts Book Awards for bringing this again to my radar and making me read it, because I'm so glad I did. And it's a fantastic, fabulous shortlist, and I'll be really excited to see who wins. So if you've enjoyed this video and you've watched it this far, I mean, well done, because it's chaos as usual. But please don't forget to like the video, and please don't forget, if you like what I'm doing here on my channel and you want to be part of what I'm reading next, because we've got some exciting stuff coming, then please click the subscribe button. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye. Where's Paul gone?